Hi, everyone. Wanted to give you a quick update on the new COVID protocols. This is a first for us in the elementary schools in that we are requiring masks for students and all staff as well. So, I'm just going to go through some bullet points from this morning's meeting with Dr. Flint and Ms. Sherman. Some of it I put out in my earlier email, and then I have some other information to share as well. First off, big picture, avoid the nonsense with all of this. Like, I was talking to a colleague of mine, and he said it so well. It's like we're in the middle of a bad divorce, and the parents are just fighting on either side, and we're stuck in the middle as a kid just trying to do the right thing, right? That's how it feels right now. We're not going to convince other people we're right. When you think you're right about something in this particular matter, you are right. So we're not going to get involved in that. We're going to stay positive. We're going to focus on teaching and learning, and we're not going to be mask police. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. To reiterate, masks are required inside the building only for all students and all staff when social distancing cannot take place. For example, if I'm in my office, I'm not going to have my mask on. If I'm far enough away from people, if I'm talking to Tina from my office door, I might not have my mask on for that time. If you see a child walking down the hall to the bathroom and no one is around him or her, and he or she does not have the mask on, we don't say, put your mask up. That's a time when, why wouldn't they have their mask off? There's nobody around. So let's use common sense. Masks are required, but we need to make sure that we don't become the mask police. Make sure, teachers, that you're providing mask breaks. Ms. Sherman has recommended 10 minutes of a mask break for different parts of the classroom, maybe staggered by rows so kids side by side are not taking their masks off at the same time. She joked that we don't want to do 14 and a half minute mask breaks, just shy of that 15-minute guideline. Let's keep it at 10 minutes or fewer. And then if students are unmasked, for whatever reason, if they don't wish to wear a mask, if parents, even though we tell them to send a medical note, they decide not to, we're going to try to keep those unmasked students 6 feet from classmates. That's tricky in some of our crowded classrooms, but do the best you can on that. Speaking of that, there are no affidavits, there are no parent notes that supersede the mask mandate. There has to be a medical note. So I've helped a few of you respond to parents today with that particular message. That's not a popular one, I'm sure, but you have the right to say, hey, this is a district mandate, district obligation. We follow what the district says, and Mr. Wright follows what the district says, and your child has to wear a mask unless a doctor says they shouldn't be wearing a mask. If you feel yourself getting in the weeds with that, don't hit reply. Just forward it to me, and I'll take it from there. Because one thing I will not have is teachers in this building being bullied by parents over this issue. It's not going to happen. The good news, it's only the same 6 or 7 angry parents that emailed me voraciously over the past 18 months. It's not everybody, not nearly everybody. The large majority of parents respect what we're trying to do and will support us. So don't get bogged down by the few naysayers. Try to keep your head held high and move on from it, okay? Contact tracing has changed a little bit, and you don't really need to know all of this, but because kids are wearing masks, we can change the way that we contact trace, and we can also change the way that we quarantine. I've actually reached out to a few families whose kids were quarantined because of exposure outside the home or by a classmate at school. Because they are not consistently around those classmates and because they are wearing masks, they are going to be able to come back to school a little earlier because everyone's going to be masked up starting tomorrow. You don't need to worry about all the details with that, but I wanted you to know that we have eased it up to where hopefully we can get more kids back in school and fewer kids quarantined. For example, there's the birthday party scenario where let's say a kid goes to a birthday party and one of the kids tests positive. Well, that child is not going to be around the positive kid at school or in the home. That's the most important thing, not in the home. So as long as that child is symptom free, then he can come to school and wear a mask, and parents and the school will keep an eye on symptoms and will respond accordingly. So that will help keep fewer kids out of school, and maybe that'll reduce the stress on all of you hardworking teachers who are teaching kids in school and through the internet at the same time. That is truly a challenge. So hopefully we can diminish some of that. We have been reminded that collaborative planning can be virtual when it needs to be, but if we are socially distanced when we're meeting together in our teams, it is perfectly fine for us to get together to keep all of that in mind. And of course, we're going to have masks on during much of that time too, but if we're spread out like we were last year and we're meeting together, then we should be good. They do want us to continue limiting field trips, so no field trips at this time until we get past this particular situation. I believe that's all I have for you. I think I emphasized that if a child does not have a mask, we're not going to call the office for Mr. Right to come yell at the child. You're not going to take the child in the hall and scold him. You're not going to send a nasty gram to the parent. You might say, hey, Johnny didn't have a mask today. Remember, they need to have a mask at school, or they need to sit far apart from their classmates. That is the reality. So feel free to communicate that message positively to your parents as needed, and Miss Rogers and I are here to counsel and help you through that as needed. We did get some good news that each school is going to get $5,000 from the COVID money to spend on masks and sanitizer and all these other things we've been buying for the past year and a half. So that was good news for us. I really think that's it in terms of what you need to know. I'm going to include a link with this video where you can post any questions you have on a Google Doc between now and the start of school on Thursday morning, and I will answer those questions and include them as part of the Daily Mail tomorrow. So that ends the latest update on our now 18-month adventure in the middle of a pandemic to educate kids. We're going for 180 days again this school year, and working together, we can do this. Everybody, have a great day.